Look, if you understand what I'm about to tell you right now, you will never go broke again. I'm fully confident in this because, again, I've seen many people do it. I've done it myself. I've also helped other people understand this landscape that we're living in currently and how it's actually way easier to make money now than it ever did before. If you don't believe this, if you're looking at this and you're just going to be like, oh, he's just talking whatever, and you click off, it's because you already have a scarcity mindset. You're already cooked. But the people who actually understand that there has been a shift and they need to catch up to that shift. There's been an acceleration of how people make money. There are 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds making a lot of money. And there are 45, 60-year-olds that are not making any at all. And there's a big reason for this because times have changed and you need to keep up with those times or else you're going to sink, right? Especially as a man, you need to provide. So you have to understand how things are working and move in those directions. So let's level set a little bit. To start it off, you have to understand that there are different stages of how you're going to make money when you start, right? Everyone starts typically, they work a 9-to-5 job, they get a paycheck every 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the problem with this, right? When you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, think about this. That means that you have to wait every 2 weeks to see a plus sign in your bank account, right? You have to see a plus sign. And how many negatives are you seeing in your bank account in terms of withdrawals of money, whether it be rent, whether it be food, whether it be going out, whether it be whatever those are? Those negatives are outweighing the positives a lot, right? That's why a lot of people are in crippling debt, like bad debt, not debt like you run a business and you're investing in your business or you're investing in like mentorship. I do this a lot, invest in mentorships to up level my business and things like that. That's different. But there are people who are genuinely in chronic debt because they just can't keep up with all the negatives in their account because they only get 2 positives a month. Whereas the person who is going to do the shift that I'm going to explain, they see positives almost every single day, right? So when you're living this wage cycle, you have to wait every single 2 weeks to see things. Saving becomes almost impossible because things will come up. You never know. Right? Especially now, inflation's going up, things are getting more expensive. You have to break out of the mindset of like the slow mindset is what I call it. It's like the slow lane where you're constantly just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So that's stage 1, right? Is getting into the wage economy. Now, stage 2 is when you start to realize that and you start to think, well, I need to make a change. Right? So now you start building a business on your own. Yes, that is actually the path to financial freedom. It's not just investing. Investing is when you actually have cash flow and you put that money towards an investment over time. It's not degenning on crypto and all of that. Like that stuff, as you can see, the crypto cycle now is completely down. So people who are literally putting their entire personality, their entire effort into trading crypto, they're down bad right now. But the people who are up are the people who have cash flow. Right? So the second stage is, well, I need to develop a skill set because now you understand, well, I can't keep living the way that I live now. I can't keep being a wage slave essentially. And I need to start figuring out a way to be able to service other people with the skills that I have. Now, there are different ways you can go about it. You can take what you know from the job that you do and start to contract it out to other people. Now you become an independent contractor or you become a freelancer, right? Maybe you were doing digital marketing at a job. Maybe you were doing that, and you have to have high level skills. You have to have skills that demand high income, right? So sales, digital marketing, literally digital marketing encompasses email marketing, it encompasses copywriting, it encompasses running ads for people, different things like that, right? You have to have these different types of skill sets, AI. You have to have these skill sets that are in demand for the market that we're in now. And typically they're digital, even sales. Now sales is all remote, right? You can literally go sell for somebody else. If they have a product or if they have a service, you can sell for them and make commission on that. So now the second level is either learning a very valuable skill set or taking the skill set you got from that job that you work at if you're in the corporate environment and now leveraging that to contract that to other people. That's level 2, right? Level 3 becomes, okay, now I need to actually grow and build scale, right? I need to actually employ people to do this work for me. And that's the agency model where you go and you find people at a lower cost than what you're charging somebody else. And you employ those people to do the work for you as an agency. That's what agencies are, right? They're basically just people arbitraging the fact that they can hire somebody overseas for way less. And then they can go ahead and charge somebody, a business owner, triple, quadruple the amount because the value is still great. So the owner is still getting a lot of value from it, and they see that their incentives are aligned. And the people who are actually doing the work are the people who are also seeing value because they're getting paid for what they believe they need to get paid for, right? Because obviously currencies change. You have to be geomaxing and understanding like, okay, this currency here is worth this much USD. So you can start to have arbitrage there, right? Now I'm speaking high level. I got to go high level because you guys have been asking me for this. So I'm going to give it to you. Now, once you get through the agency model and you start to build that out, and the whole game of that is basically just project management, managing all of the freelancers that you have or the employees that you have that are doing the work, and also managing each customer that you have, customer relationship management, right? You want to be able to manage that. You want to be able to build sales teams so that you can start to get more customers. You want to start running ads. That's level 3, I want to say, or is that 2? Yeah, that's level 3 because it's the agency. So level 4, and this is where I believe if you have a skill set, if you have some sort of demonstrated expertise and you've actually done this before, you can go straight to level 4. And level 4 is kind of where I'm at this stage of life now, right? Where now you don't get paid for your time, you get paid for your ideas. See, this is very, very different. Creativity pays a lot more than just hard labor. I don't care what anybody says. I love blue collar. I think blue collar is great. If you don't have anything, go get a blue collar job, right? But when it comes to actually starting to make serious, substantial amounts of money, you only have 24 hours in a day. You only have 24 hours in a day. But what you do also have is your mind that works 24/7, that can create ideas that last forever, right? And you can create services that last forever. So now you have to get to a point where, and this is where stage 4 is, building a personal brand online. I know everybody's saying this right now. And even I was like, man, building a personal brand, I don't even know if I want to teach people this because not everyone's going to do it. And that's true because not everybody actually wants to go through the process of building that out. But the reality is, once you get to a level where you've had the experience and you can start to actually give information online, teach other people how you've done it, now you're in the position to be able to sell your ideas and your creativity to make more money in mass scale, right? So you went from you were an employee to then you went from you are now a freelancer or you're a contractor, right? Selling your time for money. So you were selling your time for money at levels 1 and 2. Level 3, now you're leveraging other people's time and money or time, right? To then go in, but you're also spending your time because you're managing all of these different people, you're managing projects, etc. So you're still doing time. Now, level 4 is when now it's not time for money, it's ideas for money, right? It's results, it's output for money. And this is where the coaching model comes in. And a lot of you have probably seen a lot of people go into coaching and things like that. And there are people who shouldn't be coaches. Let's be honest, right? There are people who they haven't done what they say that they've done, right? They don't actually even know the process of how they got where they got to. And they're trying to basically show others how to do it, but they don't know how they did it. So you want to be able to make sure that you have the expertise and you have the systems of how you actually got to where you got to be able to then build a brand around yourself that you're going to start creating content on. So that's level 4. And that's where society is now. Everybody needs you are a personal brand right now, whether you like it or not. Personal brand, all that means is it's you online or even in person, right? People know you by your name. People know you by who you are. They know you by your characteristics. They know you by your ideas. And you start to be able to create a business around yourself, right? And now people are paying you for proximity because your ideas are so great, your content is so great that people want to pay you to teach them how they did it. Maybe you were an agency owner, you can teach other people how to start agencies. Maybe you are a personal trainer or you've been a coach for a while, right? You've been a trainer for a while. You can, or you got in the best shape of your life. You can now teach other people how to get in better shape. But again, you have to have that personal brand so people know who you are. Because again, organic content spreads a lot faster than advertising. And you may not even have $3,000 to $5,000 a month to spend on advertising, but you do have yourself and you do have the content that you create to be able to make that happen, right? So once you have the personal brand thing set up, now you can get to a certain point to where now you're teaching other people and you can start to mentor and coach people on how to do certain things. Now you're getting paid for your ideas, you're getting paid for your implementation, you're getting paid for proximity. And this is the golden age that we live in right now where people need other people to grow. I'll give you an example for me. I hired a coach recently. He was about $8,000, right? So I spent that not because, oh, I just did it, I just need to, no, because I want to learn what he knows and I want to implement it. And I also want to add things that I didn't know before to what I know to teach other people. So it's like paying to rise the ranks, right? So that's kind of the model where everybody who has a personal brand can basically help other people a few steps behind them get to a certain accomplishment that they've made in life. And so that's where the money starts to grow a lot, because now people are paying you based on outcomes, right? And when people pay you based on outcomes, they tend to pay you more because those outcomes mean a lot to them. If somebody is a person who's super out of shape, or if they have some sort of deeper reason why they want to get in shape, maybe you're a specific niche of fitness, maybe you talk about biohacking for entrepreneurs and you work with entrepreneurs, they're going to pay you a lot more. Right? So you have to understand the landscape of how things are moving. People are actually paying other people to teach them what to do because the educational system is broken, right? You're not going to get a lot of this specialized information in school. If I wanted to learn accounting, I would find someone on YouTube who's really good at accounting and pay for their course, pay for their mentorship, pay for something so that I can accelerate the process of learning what I need to learn, right? And as you do that, you keep leveling up, you keep leveling up, you keep leveling up. But now, again, going back to the concept of getting paid for your ideas and your mind, now you can start to also create informational products to sell to people who can accelerate their process at a cheaper price. So instead of selling thousands of dollars worth of like a mentorship, you can package all of your systems up into a digital product. And as you're creating content, let's say on YouTube or on Instagram, you can start to drive traffic in there, because all a personal brand is, it's a solo media machine. So when it's a solo media machine, you're basically your advertising engine, right? You're paying based on the value of your content. That's what's being paid to get pushed. That's what the algorithms are going to push, content that people actually want to watch. So you have to understand this and realize, okay, well, I need to become a solo advertising engine for myself, media machine for myself. And I also need to have a product or service that I can sell to other people to help them get from point A to point B. It's all about transformation, right? Now, I believe everybody can do this. I believe everybody can do this, but there are some people who genuinely won't do it because their mind is stuck. They don't actually believe that it's possible, or they think it's a scam. They think it's a pyramid scheme, and it's like, no, right? And if you think that's a pyramid scheme, life itself is a pyramid scheme. So you have to understand that, like, and for me, I had to wrestle with this as well, because I got to a certain point where I just couldn't believe it. Like before I got on YouTube, I just was like, no. Like traditional business is the best, this and that. Is my ego, right? But the reality is there's a power to having a personal brand that people recognize. That's why these billionaires are hopping on podcasts now. They're growing their social medias. They have a bunch of shorts being thrown out. People who never actually showed themselves in public are now showing up. Why? Because they understand the power of putting yourself out there and getting literally free advertising for whatever back-end product or service that they have or business that they're currently running. Right? So you have to understand all of this stuff. You have to understand these levels. And when you understand this, you can never go broke again. You just can't. And the last step around that is being just a really good salesperson, right? You have to understand sales at a visceral level. And a simple way to put it is you have to understand what you're selling. You have to make sure that the person understands what you're selling. You also have to figure out what their pain points are. You have to figure out what's the gap between where they are and where they want to get to. And you want to be able to speak on that gap, and you want to show them how what you have can provide value to them. And then you want to be able to deliver the package that you're selling to them at some way to where they understand that what they're paying for is way less than the value that they're getting out. If you haven't been able to convince somebody of the dollar amount that your value is, there's no way that you'll be able to sell them on the price that you want to sell them that is reasonable for you and spending your time, energy, and creativity creating that product or service. Right? So you have to understand, and I just gave you like a very simple, I know there's going to be sales guys who are like, bro, he doesn't know anything about sales. It's like, I'm not giving a sales masterclass, because the reality too is when you start to build a personal brand, you will then not need to sell as hard, because people already know you. People already trust you. They see your results. They see what you've done for other people. They see other people working with you. You don't need to hard sell anybody at that point. That's why I'm so big on like building this personal brand thing. And so that's the economy that you want to sit in, that level 4. And I call it the kingmaker economy. The kingmaker economy, especially within men, there's a niche where you can actually level yourself up through self-improvement, through learning new skills, all of that. And then you start to teach other men and become mentors to other men to be able to do that. And then build a network with those men to be able to have something to where they feel like they belong, because male loneliness is a big thing, right? Even for me, I like to pay for groups. I like to pay for different networks. I like to be in different mentorships and things like that, because that's just how it's a kingmaker economy, right? The economy is where it's at now for a reason. Because right now, people need to find their tribes. They need to find people who relate to them. They need to find a figure that relates to where they want to be, right? So you, as a person who wants to enter this economy, needs to become a kingmaker. You have to become somebody who can build people up to where they want to be in any area, whether it's fitness, whether it's money, whether it's relationships. You see this, you see all of these people becoming coaches, but you sit there and you have all this experience, but you don't actually believe that you can do it because of your limiting beliefs, because you don't think it's going to work. It does work. There are people who aren't even qualified that are doing this and still giving those people some results. So it definitely works. It's just a matter of understanding where you're currently at and realizing that your creativity is going to make you way more money, way faster, with more frequency than you going to work a 9-to-5 job, or you going to go start a brick and mortar business, or you going to go start an agency business, right? SMMA, all of these different things. They all still work, but they all take a lot of your time. You don't get the freedom that you truly want, right? And I'm not saying that you get freedom right away building a business around your personal brand, but you do get that freedom that compounds over time, right? And you do work on things that you truly want to work on. Most of you that are watching this right now, you may be doing something that you don't even want to do. So it's basically just slavery at that point, right? You're doing something you don't want to do for a wage, and you're only getting paid twice a month. And then rent's due every month at the end of the month, right? The system is created to make everything as slow as possible. Everything has to be as slow as possible, when in reality, you need speed. You want money coming in all the time. You want an influx of customers, an influx of people coming in that want to work with you because they know you, because they've been that's the thing with personal branding, right? You have to understand that for someone to buy from you, they need at least 7 hours of watch time on your content, whether it be on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. TikTok's a lot harder because it's quicker videos. YouTube is a lot easier because it's like, this video is going to be a long video. You can watch this all the way through, and that develops trust, right? I'm going to be posting testimonials with my clients that I've worked with personal branding that they've gotten to like 11,000 subscribers in less than a year, making 15K a month, right? Like I can start to post these things with my fitness, right? I post results all the time, because that's what builds trust. And the more that you watch it, the more that you get the fact that, like, oh, this is how the economy is going. Oh, this is in demand right now. Mentorships are in big demand, especially for men, especially for men. As long as you're not grifting, as long as you're not doing something that you've never done before, you can provide a lot of value to people. Your perspectives matter, right? And so you have to understand, and this is something for me, if you've ever seen me, I've flip-flopped so much in different businesses. I've tried so many different things, which gave me a lot of experience. But what stayed consistent over the last 8 years has literally been me building my personal brand online on every platform. You can find me on Instagram. I probably have about 25,000 followers. You find me on TikTok. I have about 10,000 followers. Find me on Twitter. I got about 4,600. Twitter is the hardest to grow, by the way. So that's actually pretty good for Twitter. I've been doing that for years. And now YouTube, now I'm sitting at 47,000, right? And I'm going to start growing a lot more now, because I want to start posting more consistently and giving you guys massive value. But you have to understand that this is the game that you need to play. And if you're not comfortable playing this game, it's okay. You can stay where you're at. If you're comfortable where you're at, there's nothing wrong with that. But I know guys in this audience right now that are not comfortable where they're at, and they want to grow. And I'm telling you right now, you have to get into the kingmaker economy. It's going to be one of the biggest economies that we've ever seen, because again, education is being decentralized. Public figures are being decentralized. It's not just the person that you watch on TV now. People are watching YouTube more than they're watching Netflix, right? So you want to be able to get on these platforms and demonstrate your value and start to actually make money doing something that you're really good at and that you actually like to do, right? I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying, like, it takes time. There's people, when I was working with personal brand consulting, I was consulting them on their personal brands. They wanted my level of accomplishment when it comes to personal branding in like a month or two. And I'm like, man, this could take a year, right? But at the end of the day, after that year, you can start living like I'm living, where I'm traveling wherever. I just went to Dubai, I went to Hungary, I went to or Budapest, I went to Vienna, all these different places, and I'm still making money, and I'm still doing by providing value online, right? By giving a service, by giving mentorship, right, to people who need it and getting them to get to where they need to be. So once you understand that and you understand, well, the goal is freedom, I need to get into the kingmaker economy and I need to start building up men to become kings in this economy, right? Help them do what you said you needed to do. I had a conversation with a guy, an hour consultation, man. Like he literally was like, bro, this is literally changed my whole perspective. Because I told him, I'm like, well, you want to be a fitness coach. I don't just do fitness coaching, but there are fitness coaches who come to me. And he wasn't in the greatest shape, right? Like he wasn't somebody that was admirable. If he's watching this, I'm sorry, but it's true. Like, but he did something that was pretty good, which was he built a vintage clothing brand and a vintage clothing company, right? And he was making about $6,000 a month, right? That's really good. Yes, $6,000 a month is still really good. That's freedom. If you move out the US and you go move somewhere else that the economics are a lot better, that's freedom, right? And I was like, why don't you teach other people how to do that? He was like, well, it's a process. And I'm like, well, that's what people want to know. You can't teach something that you don't obviously look like you're good at, like excellent at. You know what I mean? People will see it, especially now. There's so many grifters, there's so many scammers, there's so many people who are doing all of these different things, and like, you just can't, right? I try to stay in my zone of genius, right? My zone of genius is social media, it's fitness, right? So that's what you have to understand. And once you realize this, once you start posting videos, you start creating content, you start engaging with people on social media, you start building out your programs, you start building out your ebooks, you start building out all of these different pockets of information, you now have an endless money machine that will never, ever, 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 ever go away. And they'll be making money for you when you sleep. And then if you want to even go advanced with your personal branding business, you can start to hire salespeople to start taking your sales calls. You can start to hire people to start helping you with fulfillment when you do your calls, when you do all these different things. There is a whole breakdown of how this whole thing works. But at the end of the day, you do need to get out of your comfort zone, and you do need to start, because even if, let's say, you don't want to make money online, right? Even if you want a job now, they're gonna look you up. They're gonna see what you've done on the internet. They're gonna see if you have any initiative. And I'm telling you right now, in the next 5 years, the people who build personal brands, the kingmakers is what I like to call them, they're going to be the ones that get hired for way more money because they have way more influence. Influence is everything, by the way, in life. It's all about influence. It's all about who you know. It's all about who knows you. And it's all about your ideas and how you're perceived in the marketplace. Once you understand that, everything becomes significantly easier, right? So the more that you can start to build your personal brand, I don't even like saying that word because I think everyone's hopping on this trend. Now, if you guys have watched my content, I've been talking about this like 7 months ago, before this whole thing blew up with whole personal, Iman Ghazi's posting personal branding videos and everything now, and everyone's posting. Again, no shade to them, makes sense because it is something that's very important, but you can do this too. Right? You can get online. You can show your expertise. You can be a personality online. You can show your lifestyle on Instagram, right? People love to see lifestyles. If people don't like your lifestyle, they don't want to be you, they're not going to want to learn from you, right? It's the same. See, the educational system, I'm going on a tangent. The educational system was so successful at basically covering up the fact that teachers didn't actually teach the things that teachers didn't actually live the things that they were teaching. So you have a business professor that's never ran a business, right? You have a marketing professor that's never actually done marketing. But again, because they're a teacher at this institution that you're forced to take, you have to listen to them, right? Now, there's a decentralization of teachers. Now there are teachers everywhere online, and anybody can be a teacher or an instructor if they have the credentials, right? If they have the actual experience to back that up. You don't need to be huge, right? Like, I'm helping people now with personal branding and even fitness. So I've combined both, because here's the thing with personal branding, you have to be attractive. You have to be an attractive magnetic figure for people to actually want to listen to you. It's true. This is for there are outliers, right? There are outliers, but we're not playing the game of outliers. We're playing the game of generalization just to make sure that everybody has a shot at this, right? And the way that you do it is by building yourself up to be the best version of yourself before you start to present yourself online. This is what I tell a lot of my guys too. I'm like, look, get in shape before you go build a personal brand, because I promise you will command a lot more authority when you're in shape and you've leveled up your communication skills and you've leveled up your thinking, you've leveled up your mindset, you've learned different skills. That's what you present to the world, and that's what people like. If you're not there yet, document the journey, right? You're a voyager at that time, which is great. Being a voyager is an excellent way to build your personal brand, which means you're documenting your process of learning something. People will pay you because you are a few steps ahead of them. Right? If I'm somebody who wants to start a social media marketing agency, I'm not going to pay Tai Lopez. I'm just not. I'd rather pay the guy who is a lot smaller, that is a few steps ahead of me, because he understands what's going on right now. He's not out of touch with reality of the market. Right? It's the same with personal branding. You can pay someone who has millions of subscribers or followers, but they're out of touch with what's really working right now, because what worked for them to blow them up back then doesn't work now. So you want to be able to find people who are just a few steps ahead of you, right? And that way you don't have to pay like crazy premium, $50K for a mentorship, like none of that. Like once you level up and you start to get there, you can start to do that. But as of right now, you just need someone who's a few steps ahead of you. That's all you need. And things will work once you start to do it. Like I've seen guys, like they get frustrated after, I worked for a week. They're like, oh, like I'm not seeing it. And I'm like, dude, it takes time. It takes time to build the brand, but once you build it, you can't unbuild it. It's there. It's a cash generating machine whenever you need it. So you have to understand this, and you have to internalize this, and you have to take away from this that you will never go broke again if you have a personal brand and you have a skill set that you can sell to other people that will get them results that they want to get to. Ever. You will never, ever, ever go broke again. I promise you. Right? So if this was valuable to you, join the free Telegram. I post a lot of great value on there. The link will be in the description. And I haven't finished it yet, but I have one of the craziest, biggest free resources that I'm going to basically link in all of the descriptions of my videos in the next day or two. It's huge. It's going to have everything that I know about fitness, building the best body that you need to build. It's going to have everything that I know about personal branding, becoming a man of influence, becoming a man of power, actually being able to build a profitable personal brand. Everything I know about building wealth through a personal brand, right? Structuring the business, figuring out what you need to do. It will have everything in there. And I want to give it to you guys for free because, again, I think everybody should just understand this stuff. So the link will be in the description in the next few days. So keep watch for that, of all of the videos that I'm going to post. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you to actually start to explore this for yourself and see that this is something that literally can transform your life completely. So I'm done with my yap session. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you found a lot of value from this. There will be a lot more value. I realized, and comment below if you agree or disagree with this. My audience definitely wants freedom, right? Getting jacked is one thing, but the byproduct of that is the freedom. What you see, if you follow me on Instagram, if you see the lifestyle, you see what I do, you see that I'm free, you see that I don't work a job, I don't do this. That's what you want. So I'm going to give you guys all the frameworks that I know on how to do that, right? And maybe some of you guys, I'll work with some of you guys. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to give you guys what you need. And what you need, maybe it's getting jacked. That's literally level one. If you're not there yet, you got to get there as fast as possible, right? Just get your physique in check. It'll help everything else. But level 2 is freedom, right? Level 2 is financial freedom, right? To be able to go wherever, location freedom, right? Making sure that you can actually be a boundless man, right? So I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.